All right, guys, Travis here, Dutter's Dirt Bike. So as promised, a short how-to video on how to replace this oil pump idler gear on my Husqvarna. Good idea to replace these if you've seen on my last video before they become an issue. What that is KTM is the known problem on these bikes, and they will like to warp and they like to crack, causing lack of oil to your piston, your camshafts, everything, and will cause your engine to lock up. So as promised, I'll do a short how-to video. Do remember to like and subscribe to my channel, and I will show you more videos, either how-tos, product reviews, or more riding videos. Let me know in the comments what you guys would like to see more of. All right, so here is the updated part number for the idler gear. First things first, remove the clutch cover, drain your oil, drain your coolant, and remove this hose. Next, remove these bolts from your water pump housing and pop it out. Okay, then there's a 10mm nut right here. We just blast that off and remove our water pump impeller. Remove all the bolts around the outside, and then we're gonna pull this cover right off. Okay, now we got the cover off, and this would be a good time to check the shaft of your water pump, as well as replacing your water pump seals and or maybe potentially this bearing that came with my Vortex kit. You can nicely pull this guy out, and you could try to reuse it, being that it is metal, but I'm just gonna replace it. So now we're gonna remove the clutch. All right, so we loosened out and took out the clutch springs, and then here's the clutch face. So then make sure when you get all these pressure plate or frictions and steels that you place them all in the same order, just so everything wore together nicely. And then also keep track of your cylinders that were holding the steels, and then this push rod here. Fold back these tabs for the main nut. Now to get that guy off, you may be able to grab this and do it by hand, but keep in mind this is aluminum, very soft. A impact can help get this off. When I used good old Milwaukee, took it right off. So unscrew that guy, it's over there. Take this, place it down. Now this guy will slide right out. Okay, and it looks good. Make sure, okay, there's a washer there, so you want to keep track of that. We'll just place it with the clutch, and then we'll remove this guy, the cage. Put it somewhere safe. There we go. Okay, so now there's our idler gear. And you might be able to see the old part number. Yep, see, 6000. Our new one, 6100. So this is the old one. So now what we gotta do is remove our main gear. Now what we gotta do is we have to time this. So we gotta time it. There's a single punch, and then there should be a double punch right there. So we're gonna rotate this until these are timed to TDC compression, and then right here, this actually will hold the crank down. So we'll remove that. There's a little washer in there, and then lightly by hand, tighten it in there, and then that will stop it. You should be able to see a little pin notation where this guy will stop the crank. Keep in mind, these are left-hand threads, so do not go righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. You wanna go opposite. So I'm gonna pull that off, set this guy, and then we can replace this. Okay, so now I removed that Allen. You can see those two little black lines in there. That's actually where that bolt's gonna recess. And right there, our timing marks are good to go. So that's how we know that we can put the pin in, because you'll rotate this guy and you'll be able to watch those two little marks show up. And our bolt right here is a little pin that will stick in there, and that'll lock the engine, or lock the crank from rotating. And then that's when we'll remove this nut. Remember, reverse threads on that. Once we get that off, I went ahead and pulled off the little retaining clip and one washer right there, because I saw another video, a guy claimed that all you had to do was wiggle this out. That is totally false. You do have to remove this. So if you already watched his YouTube video, that is incorrect. Maybe his bike is something different, but according to what he said on his video, it's the same bike as this, but it is not. All right, so I was able to get this guy off. Again, I recommend using the impact. I tried doing it by hand, and I didn't like the idea of putting that much strain on that bolt, means that I really don't want to risk breaking nothing. So again, this little electric impact was all I needed to buzz that off. Don't forget, left-hand threads. And then remove that clip, remove that little washer, and this guy comes right out. Okay, keep track of, we got a washer here. So we'll just leave that on the bike. Now I saw another video of a guy that did know what he was talking about. His video is kind of quick. He said he had 2 washers on there. I don't know if they put them both on that side, but for my bike, it had one out here and one out here, so that's why I'm going to go back together. So let's get this over to the light. Looks fine. I'm not really seeing any signs of wear, signs of breakage. Everything actually looks good. So like I said, I wanted to replace this early so it did not become an issue. And let's go ahead and check it over here on my toolbox. So this does work as a straight edge. Yep, no warpage either. Okay, so on my particular bike, I did not need to replace this right away, but like I said, 25 bucks for the updated part, another $25 for the seal kit. I'd rather spend that money and replace this before it becomes an issue. Like I said, my bike has 51 hours on it. So for my bike, 51 hours, no problems. But of course, I'm still gonna replace it. Thanks for watching the video. From here, just reverse the process. All right, just kidding. I'll help you put it back together. So you put back on the new idler gear, you put both the washers on each side, put the gear back on there and the timing marks. I put red Loctite back on there. And now we're gonna tighten this down. So the spec is 100 Newtons meters, but in America, that's about 74 foot-pounds. So tighten, tighten, tighten. There we go. All right, 80, that's fine. Because what I actually did is I ran it on with the impact. Something like this, you're really not gonna over torque it because you are not gonna be able to strip those threads. So a little bit too tight's okay. It's not gonna hurt nothing. So I torqued that back down. Now, do not forget, pull that guy out. So we're gonna pull that out, rotate it, and or actually we don't need to rotate it, and then put that washer back on there, that copper one. Okay, so now we got the cage out. So make sure that when you're pushing the steel part, guys, back in there, that your idler gear that you just got done putting in meshes with the teeth on the back side of this steel gear. So don't press it on there. It should just slide nicely in there and go all the way in till it stops. You should not feel any give. Next, there's that little washer on the back side of this. Actually, okay, right here's a good example. There's your teeth. You wanna make sure you mesh with your idler gear. So don't forget that washer. Put that all back on there. So now we're gonna take all of our frictions and steels, place them back in here the way we did it before, and then put all of our cylinders back in there, put the rod back in there, put the cage on, and then we will torque this nut down. Okay, so now we got all of our frictions and steels in there. One thing I kind of helped the steels in place is we put like 2 cylinders up here to help slide those guys all back on. If you did this project, like let's say overnight, and your clutches got dry, make sure you do coat them back in oil and put that back on there. Okay, so now you put the retaining lock tab on there. Again, I put a little bit of red Loctite on this nut. For whatever reason, that was a bad call, let me know, but a little bit of red Loctite. Now this one's right hand thread, so we tighten it down. Again, I just use the impact because you can't really over tighten it with the impact I'm using. Again, spec on that guy is 100 Newton meters or about 74 foot-pounds. And I have this hub retaining tool I'm gonna use. Make sure it's pressed far enough in there that you're not going to damage anything while you're in there. Okay, so again, turn my wrench on, set it to on because now we're on regular threads. And we're gonna tighten this down. Okay. All right, now we're good to go. So next step, fold these tabs over, hammer them down nicely and cleanly, and then we're gonna install the plate. Well, no, sorry. We are going to install the push rod, then the pressure plate, and then our springs. These, I believe, are all around 8 foot-pounds, but just get them tight. Tight is good, nothing crazy. All right, so now all the scary stuff's over. So put this all back together, tighten these guys all down to 8 foot-pounds. That was the exact spec, I just double checked. Make sure you confirm operation of the clutch and that it all works. If something doesn't work or something happens, take it apart, see what you missed. And again, looks like we're all good to go. Make sure you clean your surface. Best material is some Scotch-Brite. Clean that all up. Always recommend new gasket, and again, if you haven't replaced it in a long time, now's a good time to replace these water pump seals inside here. So from there, you got it. Just put the cover back on, torque everything down, you'll be good to go.